single phase bridge step converter to step up the frequency from 50 Hz to 150 Hz without load. So to complete a 50 Hz, it's taking about 2 pi radians. For 150 Hz to complete one cycle, it will take 2 pi by 3 times. To get a positive response or output, we'll operate at the converter 1. To get negative response or the output, we operate converter 2. Depending upon the source, if Vs is positive, we operate P1, P2 in converter 1, and in converter 2 we'll operate N1, N2. When Vs is negative, we operate P3, P4 in converter 1, N3, N4 in converter 2. In step down cycloconverter, resistor turns off while line commutation or natural commutation, but in step up cycloconverter, thyristor should be turned off by force commutation. At an alpha, Vs is positive, then positive P1, P2 I'm operating. Since the Vs is positive and I need to get a positive response, then this is my output or response. The input appears across the load. So at between 0 and pi by 3 at alpha which equals to 0, I'm turning on P1 and P2. Then the current flows from X to P1 to the load to P2 to Y. The input appears across the load. So at pi by 3, I'm forcing the thyristors P1 and P2 come to rest. Now at pi by 3, this is a positive input source and I need to get a negative response. So converter 2 is operated at Vs is positive, that is N1, N2 is triggered. Then the current flows from X to N1 to the load to N2 back to Y, whereas the direction to the load is reversed. So I'll be getting a negative response. And at 2 pi by 3, I'm forcing the thyristors N1 and N2 come to rest. This is N1, N2, P1, P2. So again at 2 pi by 3, the input response is Vs is positive. I need to get a positive output. So converter 1 is operated and Vs plus is positive. So P1 and P2 is operated. When P1, P2 is operated, I'll be getting the output response 1 and P2. Now at pi, P1, P2 comes to rest due to natural commutation here. At pi, Vs is negative and we need to get a negative response. So converter 2 is operated, N3 and N4 is turned on. Current flows from Y to N3 to the load to N4 to X. Input voltage appears across the response. This is due to N3, N4. At 4 pi by 3, N3, N4 forced to commute. At 4 pi by 3, you need to get a positive response. The Vs is negative. For positive response, I need to conduct converter 1, P3, P4 need to be turned on. Then the supply flows from Y to P3 to the load to P4 to X. P3, P4. At 5 pi by 3, I'm forcing P3 and P4 to come to rest. Then I'm turning on N3 and 4 again to get the negative output from the converter 2. This is N3 and 4. And this cycle repeats after 2 pi. So when you observe the response waveform starting at 0 and going to the peak and coming back to 0 and going to the negative peak and coming back to 0. The complete cycle within 2 pi by 3. It is completing 3 cycles in 2 pi. Frequency of the output is stepped up to 150 Hz.